Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Gather here. We have a fun topic for you today. This is Dr. Maslina Ndidi Oparoji, your host or hostess. I am talking to you from NDISCO'S Village Meeting Podcast Arena. This is on Africa, society, and culture. We always share what we know and what we think you should know. And when we talk about the African society and culture, what do we mean by that? We mean languages, ways of life, our arts, our, you know, folklores, our designs, our um, ways of raising the children, and a whole lot more. So, one of the topics that today we're talking about is just as a result of a young one who went to visit relatives in Africa these past holidays. And she came back and like, Auntie, I just love, going home. This time around, I really was able to, see a lot of masquerades. And it's so fascinating. And this, I tell you, is a teenager. And first of all, let me thank the parents for being able to uh, make or help this young person experience something that they could not have if they didn't travel to the homeland. And so, by that fascination she's sharing with excitement in her voice. Oh, she needed to know more. And I encouraged her to know more, to go in there and dive deeper, not only about masquerades in general, but to know more about the masquerades in her community and to sit down and talk to her parents or elders or anyone out there who could give her more information. Auntie doesn't have all the answers, but as we were talking, I thought, hmm, there are other young ones like her who may not have that opportunity to travel to the homeland to see these things, in display or experience them firsthand. So it's good to share because some of these things are not taught to them in the classroom. They will never get some of these items told them in the classrooms. Their parents, in as much as they try as much as possible to give this child everything that they can within their own powers, may not be able to cover all these range of ideas and information that are available or that they should know, the children. So some of the things we're doing with the podcast is to really share or bring an awareness. I am not going to tell you that I can give all the answers that we need or that the village meeting, when they meet, are going to look into every aspect of African culture to be able to bring all of them to awareness. No, what we are doing is to strive to bring up these ideas and let everyone, especially the young ones, go deep into research. Google is a beautiful thing that, technology brought to us. There is a ton of information. But what I'm doing is to condense some of them for you because it takes time to go out there and gather and also dig deeper into the facts or the fiction of them. So a lot of fake news are out there, but you could piece together what you think many schools of thoughts. Again, I go back to my schools of thoughts. What they have said, what they have agreed on is what I share. So with my young one saying that, and also one of my readers, God bless his soul, you know who you are. You've asked me also to, talk about masquerades. And so I am obliging these two people to bring this topic. Thank you guys for helping me focus on some of the aspects of the things I wanted to share with the world. So today, let's talk about African masquerades. What is it? Who really participates in it? And why is it there? Why do we have that? So, according to, again, School of Thoughts, in most African societies, masquerades are associated with our ancestors, goodwill, and governance. So they are regarded as entities that defend and safeguard us who believe in those, and accordingly prevent all these potent threats from the outside to the existence of the people, and also the threats to related institutions. So we're going to go deep into those. From the above definition, you can see that Africa and the Africans' perception of their masquerades are completely different from the views of the European. So the Europeans limit our use of the masquerade to just pleasure and entertainment. The Western world, anything under the masquerade, anything out there that is, fun and activities and just entertainment, they put on the masks and the masquerade there too. But to the Africans, the masquerades are the dead ancestors among the living. We believe in that fact, which is hinged on the belief that human life does not end in physical death. So our ancestors still are here with us. They have the eyes to see us, eyes in parentheses, in as much as they are dead, and we could feel their presence. This is what the masquerade it does for us, as well as other aspects of the society that we live in. There are we have several types of African masquerades, and it depends on the region you are in. In all the whole of Africa as a continent, different regions, different countries, different tribes or ethnicities, different language areas will tell you that there are as many different ones as possible. But what I'm going to mention here are the aspects, the entities that bring all these ideas together. So in as much as have the little bit differences of what these are, the derivatives of these four aspects that I'm going to mention. There are the masquerades that embody deities or nature spirits, the ones that assure the fertility of the land and the people. There are masquerades that, that's the identity they have, but every other thing also fits into them. There are the masquerades that embody ancestral spirits. And again, I didn't want to mention any particular one. I want you to go back to your communities and ask which one are designated to what. Okay. There are those who placate the spirits through their dance. So yes, most of them dance, some of them never dance. So, but those there's a role being played in any of these. That's what the essence of this is all about. Last but not the least, there are some who perform mainly as entertainers, just the way the Western world thinks they are. So the Western world has forgotten the other 1, 2, 3 that I mentioned before. They only see number 4, the entertainment part, as the reason why Africans have masquerades. No, there's much more to that. So these are the different colorful masquerades in diverse robes and masks. And I just wanted to use this picture to show the young ones or those who have never seen masquerades, that is not just, it's made up of masks and robes and much more. So you see, these are from different parts of the world, and the masks on the lower left, and there are so many other types that are there that people use. The bottom left in the middle, the one immediately following the masks, You got some masquerades that are built so tall, and some of them are built short. So um, all in all, the last one on the lower right is like the young ones. They cover their faces, cover everything. There are human beings behind those masks and those robes. But in the case that we talked about, the slide before, these represent different roles that masquerades, play in African um, realm of thinking. Okay, so I wanted to just use this to show you the different types of those. So let's talk about events that bring out African masquerades. You don't every day see them walking around. You don't come out every day and see masquerades going. There has to be an event that will bring them in or invite them in and all that. Okay. But they will always be accompanied by songs, music, and dances. And these play a role during either an individual event, a community event, or broader than that. Okay. It's like kind of a transition from social state to another. So that's why they came. For example, you will see masquerades in their masks and all their robes and everything, regalia put together when a child is welcomed into the community. So a naming ceremony you might see one. When an adolescent is initiated into responsibilities of adult life, so the rite of passages or read the passage, like the French would say, you have those masquerades come into play. When an elder receives recognition for service in form of a title, so chieftaincy titles, uh, crowning of the highest title in land, like in Igbo land, is Eze, and much more, you will see masquerades come out to play. And they are there for the reason. It's a spiritual thing. It is also part of our ancestral spirits coming to join us in at that moment. When a member leaves the community to join the world of the spirits, again, in Igbo land, we may not call it death. It is death, but we don't look at it because we feel that somebody's transitioning to the other world, and so the masquerades are there to really help them join their ancestral spirits, as we call them. In some regions, when a woman moves from her paternal home to join her husband's family, again, this is rare, but it happens also in some areas. So I needed to share this to say that masquerades, again, somebody like my young one who called, the teenager who was telling me about her excitement of having seen a masquerade close to her this period. It was because of the Christmas period. That's the entertainment part, the dance and entertainment part that she saw. I would really love for her to also see these masquerades at play, or playing the role of when somebody dies, or when a coronation is taking place, or when there is a rite de passage going on of young adult males, or being transitioned into adulthood. So these are the things that really us as adults or elders, or whatever you may call us, we need to encourage these children to have, or the young ones who have experiences like this. It's good to invite them along when there are some things like this happening. Some of them may even consider being part of these um, um, initiations or initiatives to become the next generation that will be um, really wearing these masks and robes. Because if those of them who know how to do that now are no longer there, we wonder who picks up. This is what we call the perpetuation of the culture. And we need to start somewhere to get them interested to know what goes on. I want to also share that it has been said that the neglect of the masquerade system, the practice of it, in most societies, especially with the advent of Christianity and Islam, has led our societies to alarming rise in crime, especially owing to the fact that the present agents of crime, those who bring those agents of crime control in society, have really failed. So these masquerades have a way of curtailing such ills in the society in their own way. And again, like I said, this is not a forum to dig deeper into their practices because they have a way in those days to do that. But since, again, the thoughts there are that the advent of Christianity, the religions, the North African religion, but the Western religion and Islamic ones have really allowed other agents to come in to regulate our societies instead of allowing that which was there. For example, the masquerade system, the practice of it, regulating all these crimes. So it's something we have to look back and look into and then maybe go back to basics. As far as the people are concerned, they are ancestral spirits who periodically visit their living forebears in masquerade forms. So if we continue to think that way, we may have to go back to basics of really encouraging everyone to really look into the roles of the masquerades. Their visits are regarded as spiritual interventions to the world. We must remember that, of the living, the world of the living, and as a result are highly venerated. We had to do that. They are a symbolic resurrection of the ancestors. And so when we have that link going on, we are really perpetuating our culture in a way that is meaningful. Okay. In some African cultures, we do remember that a spirit inhabits a mask upon its creation. So all these masquerades, they have masks. The masks are symbolic as well. When a man puts on a mask as a masquerade, including all the costumes there too, they give up their own being. So that is the reason why when you see, and I don't know what happens to everybody else, but for me in particularly, or in particular, sorry, when I see a masquerade, I have this feeling over me of awe, a feeling of the spiritual aspect actually comes, and the sacredness, if I may use that word, also emerges. That I find myself standing back a little bit to watch. You could even sometimes feel goosebumps on my body because I am looking at this entity as something bigger than every other person standing next to me, in as much as this person behind that mask and that robe is a fellow human. Okay. The identity of the spirit takes over, including taking over that from the person wearing the masks. Okay. Sometimes this spirit can be of another person, such as an ancestor or any other entity out there. Other times, the spirit is an animal or another natural force. So you see some people like when they are wearing the mask, they are roaring like lions or tigers, or they assume somebody else's voice. So if you talk to those who wear those masks, who partake in that masquerade system, they will tell you that something comes over them, that yes, they went in as John, or they went in as Nduka, or they went in as Tunji, but then they assume something else as they wear those things. The person who performs with a mask Now the masquerade will undergo a physical change as well. The costume worn with the mask is just as important as the mask itself. So a masquerade maker dresses in private. You never see them dress out in public. It has to be a hidden place. Why is that? They also cover every inch of their body to conceal the identity. So, so they consume the identity because they have to assume and leave their own bodies and get into this system that they are going to perform in. Costumes can be quite complex, and some of them will wear hoops, patterns, poles, layers of fabrics, and raffia and more. But when they put this on, they now become something else. Again, like we said, another human being, an animal, an ancestor that is already gone. Sometimes when the masquerades display their ancestral spirits to the community in the music and dance performance, their movements are unpredictable. Again, something took over them. It's scary to watch sometimes, but it's also um, exciting to watch. And you start thinking deeper about these people doing what they do. Although audience members know that a human being is behind that mask, they accept the spirit of the mask, that the spirit of the mask is present. And I told you from my own particular experience, and some of you may have that, you also feel what the transformation from the mask wearers feel. They may respond to the spirit with fear or joy. And that's what we do, depending on the purpose of the spirit's visit. So the your vision or your feeling when you watch a masquerade that is dancing during for entertainment during a coronation of a chieftaincy title or a king title or some kind of title, and that which is also for child naming ceremony is different from that that is displayed when somebody is being buried, especially an older person or somebody who really matters to the community that much. So that. Although masks can represent either male or female figures, we know sometimes you have every kind of masks on. All masquerade dancers are all male. We need to know that, except maybe very rarely, I think one or two areas, countries have indicated that females, so it's very rare. In majority of other African countries, all the masquerade dancers are male. In most African communities, although women are not allowed to wear masquerade masks, they still participate as audience members. They often perform songs, they dance, they accompany the masquerades, but they don't wear them. Women also assist in creating the masquerade costumes and sometimes even provide their own clothing for the female figured masquerades because some of the masquerades are dressed up as females. Okay. So we see them around. We see them. So the job is to go home. My challenge to you now is to go and ask questions, especially the young ones, about those masquerades that appear in your area, in your community. Remember, there are some that are out there that may not mean much in by way of imitation and all that. You know, we've seen that some people who don't really know the essence of masquerade. We saw the example given by some people who wore the mask and then wore some kind of paraphernalia that some religious folks wear. There was one now in the news that somebody adorned a masquerade, adorned the cap of a pope and making fun of religious outfits. That's not a real masquerade. A real masquerade would not do that because they have their own essence. Okay. So let me give you an example of in areas where I want you to focus and see exactly what masquerades are. The most influential masquerades, especially example in Igbo land, where I come from, well, the Igbo culture is Ijele. Ijele is the king of all Igbo masquerades, according to the case studies out there. But there are more. There are other ones. So that's an example. All over Yoruba land, the Egungun represent the spirit of the ancestors who have descended from heaven or from mountains. So Egungun will celebrate, it's a period when the dead interact with the living, as it is their responsibility to compel the living to uphold the ethical standards of the past generations. So, and when you go to the Ijanga Society of Cross River State, the task of detecting witches and wizards rests with Echia Basinjong, which is the masquerade. Okay. So I'm not going to give you more because of time factor, but I challenge you, those of you listening to this podcast, to find out more about the masquerades in your region. I say that again, in your town, in your community, and understand them and know what they stand for so that whenever you come across them, you really know what you're watching or what you're looking at. And the African belief also rests on these, so you don't ignore those. So at this point, I am also trying to listen to you and make it as short as possible without leaving any important things out. But that also means I cannot go into details. But for you to really use this awareness that is created to go look more into the particular aspects that pertains to your community. I'm not asking you to look for everybody else's, but to go what pertains to your region. When you understand that, then that could be your stepping stone to understanding everybody else's culture, everybody else's raison d'etre or reason why they do stuff, and for you to either embrace part of it, all of it, adjust them to fit yours, or for you to understand that what happens in your area also happens everywhere else. And at that point, I say thank you again, and subscribe if you like what you are hearing or what you're seeing. Um, on Facebook, you can give me stars. On Instagram, also TikTok, and YouTube. I encourage you to subscribe so that we can do more. I thank you very much again for listening. I believe in that Ubuntu discipline or principle. I am because we are. And let us put that to mind and remember that always as we think about our Africa, our beloved Africa, its God, its society, and the culture, whether you are at the homeland or you are in diaspora. This is your host, Dr. Maslena M.OPARAOJI. Say thank you and goodbye.